But I must confess that over the last 2 decades, I have changed radically on the question of how to achieve these goals. Most importantly, I no longer believe that freedom and democracy are compatible. And so Peter Thiel arrives at the conclusion that democracy is never going to work, mostly because people like him are going to be held back by welfare recipients or whoever who are more concerned with voting to improve their pathetic immediate surroundings versus putting efforts towards the greater good of the human race, which of course he thinks he could achieve if only there were less taxes and rules on capitalism. Peter Thiel wasn't alone either. In the late 2000s, there are guys like Curtis Yarvin and Nick Land who start to blur the line between tech and philosophy with the idea that liberal democracy has totally failed and needs to be replaced with a neo-feudal corporate monarchy, with countries run by national CEOs with unlimited power and no accountability to voters. By 2021, J.D. Vance starts quoting them openly. On a podcast that year, he repeats Yarvin's rage plan verbatim: fire government workers, replace them with Trump loyalists, and turn America into a country with no political accountability, a corporate takeover style approach to the government. No checks and balances, just throwing democracy aside like it's a roadblock. And honestly, I'm not even connecting the dots here like it's a conspiracy. J.D. Vance is an explicit follower of Curtis Yarvin and Peter Thiel's anti-democratic, anti-American, pro-capitalism ideas.
So, I think that there are two different ideas here, right? So one is there's this guy Curtis Yarvin who's written about some of these things. And so one is to basically accept that this entire thing is going to fall.
Curtis Yarvin and Nick Land also happen to be massively racist, while Peter Thiel himself grew up in a Nazi enclave in South Africa where people were still saluting to pictures of Hitler in public in the early 90s. But essentially, Peter Thiel's thing is technological progress. He talks about wanting to cure diseases, colonize new planets, invent new currencies, and whatever else. But in his mind, the only way to do that is to destroy the American way of life and replace it with a brave new world where he would be king. It starts to become a deceptively evil idea, because I think we can all agree that Peter Thiel has a point. Let's be serious, okay? The idea that the information age has been a disappointment, it's pretty real. As a society, we don't invest in new systems that are for the broader benefit of humanity. We make platforms that get people addicted to slop content and brain drain our own society from the inside out. Our education and healthcare systems are clearly broken, literacy is down, our system is clearly not sustainable in a lot of ways. And so if someone comes along and says, hey, we need to actually focus more on improving things and making forward progress, I'm all ears. Of course, the only problem with Peter Thiel's vision of the world is that it's retarded. I mean, seriously. The idea of handing unrestricted, unlimited, king-level power over the government to a bunch of tech CEOs is ridiculous. It is beyond silly. We have seen over and over exactly what happens when capitalism doesn't get restricted or regulated fast enough to prevent disaster. After American corporations started sending manufacturing overseas for better profit margins, the country lost over 60,000 factories. Once thriving, growing, working-class cities like Detroit, Cleveland, St. Louis, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, even New Haven, J.D. Vance's college town, these places were slowly destroyed. New Haven itself lost 25% of its population over time. When its massive Winchester rifle factory, where many of the rifles that were used by various armies in World War I and II were built, closed in 2006, thousands of New Haven residents were left without jobs. And that is a very mild example of what happened all over America as factories were closed and labor was outsourced overseas. It has been horrible for America. I mean, there are cities that have lost 30, 50, even 70% of their population since the 1960s.
The worst